It can't stop the day we dissect the news. Flipping on the edge, choices to choose. Politics and laughter, a blend that's so real. Tune in for the stories that make you feel. With guests from every angle, let's bridge the divide. Finding the truth in the humor we can't hide.
One way or the other. Hope it's not Fallout. But one way or the other, humanity is going to come through this. And maybe it's a version of humanity that's like part of the singularity. I don't know. Where we're melded with AI.
Oh man, like the Borg. No reference to Star Trek.
No,
just
none.
No,
more like maybe like a Skynet or something. But
Skynet, there you go.
Yeah, but I don't know. Matrix melding or something. I don't know.
I think we're already there.
Yeah, there's a series on Disney Plus. It's called Year 1 Million. You ever seen this thing?
No.
It's narrated by Lawrence Fishburne because they're trying to tap into the Matrix stuff as well. But it just talks about. That's worth checking out. There's another one I'm going to send links to you so you can watch this thing. It just it's not necessarily a million years in the future. It's just this idea, the humanity in the distant future. What do we look like? And in this particular case, they try to take some positive, like utopian looks at like what we could be like. And so they have like these nano probes that you can inject yourself with, and they travel through your bloodstream and they clean out your body. They attach to like cancer cells and destroy them. They help out your white blood cells. They repair like torn tissues. And for us guys, it's heart condition, right? So they go through your heart and repair the valves and clear you out and clean you out. And so in the future, they're like, yeah, the average human makes it like 300 or 400 years before because it helps you the aging RNA, replication sequences, right? Because every time the cell replicates, right, that's how we age, right? It's making a copy of a copy and a copy. And so over time, we just get this wrinkly skin because it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. But in this future, they've solved that, so you can kind of keep going. They've been talking that episodes in some of those series about how truly they open up the singularity into like the mainframe, where you can download your consciousness into the mainframe, and then you just kind of say goodbye to your body. And then you're in this...
And then you live forever.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to live forever?
Or at least until, the electrical bill comes due. Because that's going to be a lot.
I just wonder. I mean, and then would you be in control of your own destiny?
Then we can get into a spiritual question about... are you transcendent? Are you? Wasn't there a movie I'm thinking of with Johnny Depp called Transcendence? Where he's trying to like.
Yeah, he's trying to seek.
Yeah. To live forever and. Yeah.
Now anyway. That's one we're checking out. Year 1 million. Yeah. So welcome back to another episode of the Prime Directive. This particular episode's topic is going to be Back in My Day.
Oh, perfect.
Back in My Day.
Yes.
I like this. So back in my day, we used to play with He-Man toys.
Don't see to this very day.
Wow,
that influenced me so much. When people are like, "How come you're such a big fan of large cats?" It's like, are you joking? All I wanted to do as a kid is put one in armor and then go for a ride.
Yeah.
Because that's what He-Man did. And that's my goal in life. If there's one goal that I have.
Of Grayskull.
I have the power.
I have the power. It is roided up. Got a little Dutch boy haircut.
Yeah. Adam is the man.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, he had a cat. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's phenomenal. It's the equivalent, like the modern equivalent of a liger.
What was it?
That's what I want to have.
What was his name again? I forgot. It was Panthro? No, that was the Thundercats. That was another one.
Oh
my God, Thundercats. Thundercats.
Oh. See?
Thunder. Yeah, good times, man. Good times. Chitara. Used to have a crush on Chitara.
I was going to say, who didn't? I'm sorry. Is that where we're at? This is where we're at, everybody.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hente. Oh my God.
You're revealing so
Not that I
much.
would ever know what such things are, but He-Man was quite an interesting character. The first roided up character. Remember he had She-Ra, wasn't it? She-Ra was the battle princess or whatever of the planet, and so she was pretty badass too.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Man of Arms and stuff. My brother had this. Maybe you had one of these toys when you were a kid, but my brother had this Stinkor. That was horrendous. It was supposed to be this skunk character that was, but they really made him smell like a damn skunk. And my God,
no,
we had to keep him in a bag. And my mom eventually lost him in the trash because it was so bad. It stunk up the house.
Sorry, I just thought of the name of the cat. Is it Cringer?
Cringer. But then he becomes Battle Cat.
Battle Cat.
Right?
Battle Cat.
Yeah, and he could put on this
awesome is
red
that?
helmet and stuff. I remember that stuff.
Yes, and a saddle.
We had the best toys. Had the best toys back then.
What is up with
and
everything?
Kids today is
everything's digital.
Roblox or whatever. And
you can't. Nothing is
Minecraft,
tangible.
And it's just kind of like your blocks walking around.
Well, can I also say I think after we lost Toys R Us, having a centralized hub of where you can actually experience physical toys, where everything became a digital sort of store where you can't really go and physically see it and touch it.
Yeah. You want to touch it. You want the teddy bears and you want the G.I. Joe and you want all that stuff. You want the Star Wars collector items.
Oh my goodness!
I used to fly the Millennium Falcon around and I crashed it into my. We had this stupid swamp out by our house that was like this running creek of water. God knows what was in it, but we used to play in the mud out there, and all my G.I. Joe figures and Star Wars figures get just pulverized and.
Just going outside and just getting.
I had Transformer toys as a kid.
Transformers.
I had Robotech toys. So I had those were more fragile. I had to be careful with some of those.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know
my brother had those.
Yep.
Yeah, he had some of those.
Yeah.
We had the wrestling dudes. You could have Hulk Hogan and stuff. And they were made of rubber.
Oh, that's awesome.
He looked a lot better back then. Yeah. No, he's just kind of.
But then again, we also did have music on tape, so you can make your very own
mixtapes. We had mixtapes back then, and we would play them over and over. My brother had Anthrax and oh my gosh, Depeche Mode. I must have listened to that. What was that? Violator album. I must have listened to that 10,000 times. So back in my day, it was just better. It was just better. The 80s and 90s was just. I don't know. We just had it was not so cringy. The way it is now, and everything wasn't on social media. That's the big thing. We weren't on social media, so you went out and you interacted with kids in the neighborhood who were different, and they went over to their house and had sometimes strange foods, and you're like, what the hell is this?
And that's the interesting thing too, because I think it's a hallmark of why the generations after struggled so much, because you did have to figure out, you had to problem solve. You had to figure out how to compromise. Well, I want to go here. Well, the rest of the group doesn't. So you had to go, well, I guess if I want to join y'all, we're going to go down this path instead of this one, I guess.
That's right. And live with it.
And you lived with it. And you learned so much more about human nature. You learned a lot more about how to get along with people, or sometimes how to not get along with people. I'm telling you right now,
it's how you meet your first girlfriends.
It's how tell. I mean, Eric.
It's how
you. Yeah, especially right now.
It's how you meet
I'm not the only person listening.
It's how you make out behind CSCS with your first girlfriend in 6th grade. It's how you do all kinds of stuff. You talk and interact with people. You don't just. You're not playing a video game of a romance. Weird. Right. You're actually talking to somebody. Then you're reading their body language, and you're looking them in the eyes, and you hear the voices and see the inflections, and start to pick up tells and things if a person might be exaggerating or you start to do these things.
Do you think that the fact that has now been lost since?
I don't know.
The late 90s. So for 25 years now, so a quarter of a century has gone by. you've probably seen the same things that I've seen.
Yeah.
Where now we apparently are incapable of forming any sort of meaningful relationship with anybody. Nobody wants to date anyone because, it's all about flags, red flags, green flags, purple flags. It's like everybody is, passing judgment on, anything and everything left and right. Apparently some people have just given up altogether. Talking about, the cycle and kind of going through some of the,
the hero's journey.
And do we blame them? No,
but you still got to put yourself out there, and if you're going to be happy, now maybe you're fine being miserable in your parents' basement or something, but
right. But that's the thing, though. To some, it's I have my peace. Leave me alone.
They've rejected the call to action, so that's actually one of the steps in the hero's journey. Is you're supposed to get started, and for some. They refuse the journey to everyone.
So what you're suggesting, really?
They don't even heed the call to the journey. They just sit there and reject it. They never even get to step 3. So in that 17-step arc that you go through, imagine living a life where you've never even gotten to step 2 or 3. How sad. Oh my gosh. If you're one of those people out there and you're listening, I implore you, I beg of you, take the journey. The pain is, take the chance. It's, yes, you suffer. Yes, you do.
Samsara.
But what you gain along that journey is in video game terms, imagine being in the Mario world or whatever, and you're stuck at level easy forever.
The entire time.
Forever. You're just, everything is unlocked. Everything, you never level up. You never really challenge yourself to go to the next level. Or what are some of the latest video games? Imagine being stuck in the first level of the video game. Does that sound fun? Oh, forever and ever and like you're playing Madden, but you're playing the same team over and over.
There is a certain sense of comfort in predictability, which, by the way, it's interesting because the modern generation is, without a doubt, the single most affected generation in terms of anxieties and predictability, or having a sense of predictability is key to feeling that sense of comfort. That includes, I'm going to watch the same show that I've watched a million times because I already know what's going to happen. Everything is already played out. There are no uncertainties. But everything is an uncertainty. You take a step outside, it's an uncertainty. You woke up this morning, that's an uncertainty right there. Think of the millions of things that have to go right for us to just be here right now.
You never feel more alive than when you're uncertain. You never feel more alive than when you're lost in the woods.
So what you're suggesting
and it's scary as hell. It's scary as hell, but you could die. I mean, you really, but then to wake up the next morning and you find your way out and you're, my God, I did it. There's nothing like it, right?
Well, actually,
or going on that first date with the girl, like I was never going to ask that girl out. She's way out of my league. And then you marry her. And
tell us about that. How does that feel?
It's pretty incredible.
I'm not the only person who wants to know.
It's pretty amazing. It's like the Blair Witch, but you reverse. Instead of being in the corner faced away, you're faced the other way, and you're like dancing a jig, like yeah.
Is that what guys do, Eric?
Yeah,
they dance a jig.
They dance a jig.
Okay.
Manly men like me, the dancing a jig. Yeah. No. So back in my day, you had to go on a date. You ask out a girl, you take her to dinner.
Is that how it went? Is he telling the truth?
You pay for the dinner. You pay for it. You don't split it.
See now, apparently, nope, that's a red flag. No.
Red flag, huh?
No, that's already a red flag.
I guess I'm too old to pay for dinner for a lady, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm too old. I guess I must be an old boomer.
Boomer.
A boomexer or whatever they want. A boxer.
A boombox.
A bexer, whatever the hell you are. No, even going out to play video games. Okay, you go out to play America. You had to put in quarters. You had to drive out to the arcade and go
What an event.
And then we had tournaments with Street Fighter 2, and you had to measure somebody up, and it didn't matter if you were the biggest guy or the tallest guy. You could take down some of these big guys who thought they were big, tough players. You could destroy them. My brother got good with this E Honda character. Guys would be like, "I'm gonna kick your ass, you son of a bitch," and then yeah, sure, keep talking. Next quarter, and you just keep going, and they would have the old classic games: Tempest, Battlezone, Dig Dug. Oh my God, Dig Dug! Dig Dug is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Dig Dug, back in my day, I could beat anybody in Dig Dug. You're this little dude, red dude, who's got a little shovel, and then you try to insert your, I don't know what the hell it was, an air pump into these balloon things underground, these gopher things, and you blow them up. And you just go round and round and round and round, Robotron.
The things we used to be entertained by.
Oh, yeah.
Something as simple as that. I remember Atari racing games when all you had is just like this little shadowy, I don't even know how to describe it, like obviously two-dimensional silhouette of what appeared to be a car.
And it just goes like this?
Just goes like this. All you're doing is this, which by the way is super useful because after I started driving, it's like, oh, so now this is what I get to do in real life. It's just dodge people.
Right.
Which, by the way, talking about the things, talking about taking chances. So I ride motorcycles. A big shout out
Admar.
To everyone out there.
We could get him to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like a parent on this guy. I don't want him to die in a motorcycle crash.
Actually,
my sister-in-law's a nurse. You know what they call those things, right?
Organ donors.
Organ donation machines.
Yeah, that's why I used to wear a shirt that used to say proud sponsor of organ donation.
Oh, I know, but like you said, everybody has to take a chance. I guess at some time
Which, by the way, can I just point out, anytime I would arrive anywhere on my motorcycle, like the level of excitement, pure levels of just feelings of like ecstasy of like, I made it, I'm here, and all my limbs are attached. This is amazing. The level of you take memento mori when you ride a motorcycle to a whole new level.
Yeah, driving these streets, that's true.
No, that's actually true.
Shitty drivers around here.
Please, everyone, I highly recommend. I'm just gonna do this as a quick public service announcement. It's just a quick PSA. For the love of everything, do not purchase a super sport motorcycle of any type, period, the end, as your very first two-wheeled vehicle. Please don't. You have very little understanding of what those things are capable of. For example, especially like modern bikes, just to give you a little bit of an idea.
Well, they're like 1,000 horsepower. It's insane, or whatever.
Well, it's 1,000 cc's.
Or cc, that's it. CC, that's it.
But they're all in the 200 horsepower range now.
Yeah.
Which I remember when they were like in the 100 horsepower range. That was already outrageous. But some of those things will do over 100 miles an hour.
200 miles an hour, or whatever.
And 200 miles an hour is their top speed. And they'll get there faster than that your brain can really comprehend what's happening. And the public road is not a racetrack. So
did you see that guy that made the run between the springs? He videotaped that run between the springs in Denver, and he made it in like 18 minutes or something like that. And
I mean, that's one way to get
arrested.
Traffic.
Well, to get arrested too. They arrested him for that one.
Yeah.
But, that brings us to our sponsor. Our sponsor this week is Common Sense. Common Sense, you can't buy it.
Sponsor.
You can't buy it off, and it can't be bought off. But boy, it comes in useful, and man, it pays in the end. Tell you what, Common Sense, folks. This week's sponsor of the Prime Directive.
Yes, indeed.
So
anyway,
So needless to say, I hope you don't end up crashing on your motorcycle. Please drive safe.
No. It's funny. I don't have one right now, but I am seriously contemplating my next my next two-wheeled vehicle.
Okay. I should talk because back in my day I had
here we go
guns and oh my God, my dad would take us out plinking. And so at one point I would probably fit the definition of gun nut. At one point in my later teenage years, right before I met my wife, back in my day, I was quite the gun nut. And when I got married, she's like, why the hell do you have all these things?
Enthusiast. You're just an enthusiast.
Yeah, but then you start asking, like, why do I have an AK-47? Why do I have one of these? Why do I have this? So anyway, I sold off a lot of those guns, and they paid for our first down payment of our house.
Hey.
And so I used it wisely to actually start the financial journey.
Oh, that's another journey of lots of successes and failures, yes. I trust.
Boy, you want to talk about the supernatural realm?
Yeah.
Just watch that stock market lately. Oof.
Yeah. Yeehaw. Yep.
Like that, folks? I'll do it even here like this. Ooh, yeah. So, I was going to say back in my day, too, we had like craft dinner all the time. Like, I don't know what it was. My mom would only make us these craft dinner things. And as a kid, you don't care. You don't give a shit. You're just kind of like, I could live off of grilled cheese, the occasional turkey sandwich, and like little Smokies.
You've just described the best dinner in the world, Eric.
Yeah.
But, and I did want to ask you, what is the one thing that you miss the most? Like, if you could just close your eyes and you could say, hey, I'm getting an hour of just going back, what would you spend that hour on?
So there were these like Friday night or Saturday night, whatever it was, weekend nights where your favorite shows would come on. And it was like this lineup of like, just for me, it was always like the geeky sci-fi, USA Fright Nights, Battlestar Galactica, HBO would usually have something on there, like something like Planet of Terror or something like that was completely inappropriate for my age group. And I would just sit down in that basement and just dream of other worlds, and sometimes terrifying, sometimes wonderful. And just, I'd be down there playing, alternating between like video game systems, watching TV, dreaming of the future that could be. I don't know. I always knew that I was going to end up in a different place in time, but I just knew that those moments, they just, like, even right now, I get nostalgic thinking about them. My dad was always gigging. Old Big Al, he was always gigging. And so he was already living this life that I knew was calling to me. And so my drum set was always there, but it was always too late to practice by then because about 8 or 9 at night. Mm-hmm. And I would just have these hours downstairs. My brother would occasionally join me. Sister, not so much. My sister was just always busy doing her own stuff. Mm-hmm. She's very driven. My sister is extremely driven, much more than even me professionally. My brother, though, and I would occasionally get together, do the games together. He started kind of drifting into his own friends, and I started like only hanging around kind of my crew and stuff, and then looking to the future. I was probably about like 14 or 15. It's like we're right on that cusp where you want to start becoming an adult, and you can sense like you want to start that journey, but you're not old enough yet.
You're looking for more autonomy. You're looking to make more of your own decisions. You want to be taken seriously. All those things that kind of come to.
You might have had a few serious girlfriends, serious, girlfriends, but you're not. But you know that you're not going to get married or anything. You want to go to college, but you're still. There's a little bit of ways to go. I just remember those nights going out and just looking up at the stars. And this is when we still had less light pollution in the springs. Yeah. Now it's insane. You got to drive a ways out now to be able to see the stars. Yeah. But I just remember thinking to myself, what's out there, and who are you, and going through that journey and dreaming about who my future wife might be. And just you just imagine.
Met her in real life, you're like, no way.
Yeah, you're like, I couldn't imagine this in a million years. But I actually didn't think she existed. I thought it was, when I met Liesl, I thought she was like imaginary kind of a thing,
So that's the supernatural part of the hero's journey realm thing, right?
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, it really is. And then the temptation, I never left that one. Not with her. Went right into temptation. But there was something magical about those nights back in my day. There's something magical just about, you still had to go through the commercials. There's no fast forwarding.
Which gave you a sense of appreciation for when the show finally came back on, and you were like, yes, we're finally done with the commercial nonsense.
Oh, thank God.
And the commercials, by the way, were all about the best toys.
Best Toys, Mickey D's. It was always the same stuff, KB Toys and Toys R Us and all that stuff. The mall crawls, those were pretty interesting. That's where you go hook up with other kids and stuff.
Nowadays, it's the one place that you build more affordable apartments at.
I saw that Chapel Hills,
and not just here. We're talking about pretty much everywhere across the board, because the institution that is the mall is, and that's the interesting thing to me. We're losing more of that interconnectedness, where shopping used to be a social affair. It is no longer that. It is, hey, I got the best deal online. I don't have to interact with one. I don't have to get out of the house. So there's none of that, and we're losing yet another way to connect with people.
Yeah.
And learn more to interact with others, and learn more
that's so interesting. Yeah. No, I never even thought of it like that. But so I went and got some reward cards for my kids this week, right?
Okay.
And I went to Chapel Hills Mall, and I went to the place that all the kids want to go, which is this Hot Topic. And it's
because the topic is hot.
Well, you go in there.
Yes, it's awesome. It's like the best place in the world.
So you go in there, and I would say 90% of the store, well, maybe 80% of the store is nostalgia. 80% of the store is Iron Maiden shirts, Nirvana shirts, Metallica,
yes,
Offspring shirts,
100%.
It's things of the past.
Yes.
And then there is a section for manga, like all the anime and manga. That seems to be the modern kind of version of maybe their attempt at what we went through in the 80s and 90s. But as far as like modern pop culture,
well,
there was a small section for what's her face, the singer, blonde, Taylor Swift. There was like a Taylor Swift little section for her, and then the rest of it was just Ozzy Osbourne and Cream, and you're going back to like 70s groups. I was in Boston, and there's this nostalgia to go back to that authentic, that realism.
Yes, what was the most popular show on Netflix? Stranger Things. When does it take place?
The 80s, right?
The 80s.
It's the 80s, yeah.
The 80s.
Which was a pretty amazing decade.
Living
through it was pretty incredible.
But let me tell you, what does that say about modern society?
Yeah, it says to me that people are in pain and they're looking for a different time.
Yeah, they are.
That they know that there's something about this time, like I told you, that's like the looking glass, that we're going through crazy. And they know it. And everybody kind of knows we're in this weird, bizarro world right now. And so I guess our duty is to just stay strong and create the next authentic chapter, because it's out there. I truly believe that it's at America's next authentic chapter, maybe in the 2030s, maybe when we're through this MAGA thing, whatever this is. But I just, once we're through that, I just see America as having like this new hopeful era where young people will recreate a new authentic realm again. Maybe that's when the singularity happens, when we finally have, AI has pushed to the point where the thinking machines are pushing humanity out. We have to push back, and we have to establish ourselves as the dominant creature again, the apex creature again on the planet, because if we don't, then it's going to be old Skynet and that stuff taking over.
Join us on this path, let's ignite the blaze. So grab your headphones tight, let's go for a ride. With every spin and twist, who couldn't run and hide? The Prime Directive, where the laughter's a lie. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh what a blend. Join on the journey and let's set the trend. As we close the chapter, let us you're here. The Prime Directive's calling, so let's pass a beer. The Prime Directive, where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture.